Yesterday's T20 Cup matches were heavily affected by rain. What do you expect? The matches between India and Canada were cancelled without the toss due to persistent rain in Florida, resulting in both the teams receiving 1 point each. Despite the washout, India had already secured their place in the Super 8, while Canada was eliminated, making the match a formality. The second match of the day between England and Namibia was also disrupted by the rain. Initially reduced to 11 overs, it was further shortened to 10 overs per side. England batting first scored 122 runs in 10 overs. Namibia in response could only manage 84, thus losing the match. This victory was crucial for England's advancement to the Super 8. In earlier match today, Australia faced Scotland. Now this is an important match. Scotland posted their highest T20 World Cup score of 180 runs while batting first. However, Australia successfully chased the target in the final over, winning by 5 wickets. With the result, England secured their place in the Super 8. Well, Australia, I've got an Aussie podcaster with me, as luck would have it. He's back, smiling in Sydney. We also have Noel David, the Indian former cricketer. But first, let's understand and take a recap of what went right with Australia, especially in the last over. But they were looking somewhere. Scotland had rocked their boat. Paul Dinette, welcome to the show.
Hey, Sunil. Yeah, it was what a day. And in the end, Australia got to a point where they looked like they were going to lose. Marcus Stoinis quickly changed that. Few quick sixes, and I felt sorry for Scotland. I didn't know what to think throughout the entire match because, pragmatically, not because of an Ashes rivalry, maybe a little bit. I kind of wanted England out because if Australia, and we're looking a bit further ahead, but if Australia are to make it through to the semi-finals, surely you'd want the one of the favourites from the tournament not to be a possible target. But the fact that Australia dropped about 6 catches, they were definitely trying their hardest. There's no question they were trying their hardest. But I knew that if Australia lost, all around the world, everyone would be saying, "Oh, you really didn't try, did you, boys?" And I didn't want to have to deal with that. So in the end, I suppose I was glad that the Australians won, and hopefully England appreciate the favour that we did them.
Well, Paul, just to give a sense of how did Scotland play? Because we kind of missed that match earlier in the morning, but you've got to just take us through how it all happened, what happened, who got smashed by the Scottish batters, and then the wickets fell down from the Australians' perspective.
Yeah, Scotland played really, really well. I mean, Australia opened the bowling with Ashton Agar. He got a wicket in the first over, and it just looked like, oh, here we go. The Aussies are going to be too good. And I think the first 3 overs, Scotland really didn't move the needle much. And then they just started to play a range of really crisp strokes, regularly clearing the boundary. And I couldn't help but I like to imagine that the England team was sitting in a hotel room watching it, and they would have been watching it with mounting dread because every single Australian bowler copped a bit of treatment. And 180, it's funny because back in the IPL, we would have thought, oh, that's a very much under par total. But in this tournament, 180 suddenly seems a total that might be too much. And the Australians they were going okay, but kept on losing wickets. Glenn Maxwell got bowled by an absolute perler from Mark Watt. It was kind of like a left arm orthodox dream ball that hits the top of off stump. But at that moment, with the pitch maybe slowing up a bit and things looking a bit difficult, it was starting to think, well, they might really struggle to do this. The run rate, as I said, got up to 12, 13 and over. Travis Head was playing a very atypical innings, and I was seeing lots of posts on social media. How come every time up until now Travis Head's smashing the ball around, but in this game he's not? Again, people incorrectly implying that the Australians weren't trying. So it was satisfying that Stoinis suddenly, as he did in that game in the IPL, exploded with 6 after 6 after 6. Tim David came in and kind of iced it. But even right at the end, dropped catch right in the last over that probably still wasn't going to cause Scotland to win. But had they taken that, you just never know. So Scotland, it's to their credit that they played really well. And it's that they wouldn't have been out of place in the Super 8s, put it that way. They're very unlucky today, I think.
Well, some people are unlucky and some teams are very lucky. I don't know which one to consider. Noel David, Do you think it's a kind of a scare for all the teams, especially the higher end of the table, not taking these minnows like your complete unregular ones, because they are the ones who are spoiling the party, the smaller, lesser known teams?
Absolutely. If you see, if you go to see this tournament, actually the minnows itself, the associate members have played better cricket than what we expected from the superior teams, like the Pakistan, or you take the England or the New Zealand. I think they have done really well. They lived up to the expectations of their own fans of their country. They gave every superior teams a fight. Like, if you see like yesterday's game, even the Namibians, they gave a good fight to the English team. Yeah, it was a bit of rain delayed match, the was being cut, but yet they fought, and to the last. If you see Australia versus the Scotland, also the Scotland team giving them a fight, I think they are growing in structures, and that's a great sign for this associate teams and minnows. I know in future we could see a better side coming into the T20 formats with a stronger, and I wouldn't be surprised, in future there'll be a lot of upsets. There's been a few this year. I think the next World Cup you'll see more upsets. Big teams will be eliminated.
Well, big upsets on the card. Well, take a step back and go on to Paul Dennett. Paul, what have been the big upsets in this tournament throughout? Because there was also a match that was washed out yesterday. Paul Dennett.
Oh, I think the biggest upset had to be the United States beating Pakistan, in the sense that it caused the biggest reverberations. I actually gave Pakistan, the United States, a real chance of doing something in that game, because I think I was over there with you, Sunil, when the United States beat Bangladesh in a couple of warm-up games. I had some concerns about the Pakistan side and their lack of firepower. So I definitely gave America a chance, but I didn't necessarily, you never really expect that upset's going to occur. The upset that didn't occur was Nepal not beating South Africa, but they ran it very, very close. That would have been a monumental upset, and I was cheering on Nepal because I know that their passion for cricket is so huge. And I suppose the other upset is the fact that, as Noel said, that New Zealand is not into the Super 8s, Pakistan is not into the Super 8s, Sri Lanka is not into the Super 8s, and there were about 4 or 5 times yesterday where it looked like England were going to miss out on the Super 8s. So if that had been the case, and 4 of the heavily favoured teams had missed out, that would have been quite something. And I think it vindicates that they have started to go to a better format, getting more teams in. You could almost argue that we're not far away from being able to have a football-like format for a T20 World Cup, where you just have groups of 4 and then go straight to a knockout. I think that we're not far away from being able to do that.
Well, very nicely summed it by Paul Dennett. Paul, last time there was a washout for an Indian match, India actually went on to win the trophy, and that was in 2007. Do you think something of this sort can happen, Paul Dennett, the way India is playing?
Thank you. Well, the 2007 World Cup, it's a funny one, because you ask any Indian who won the 2007 World Cup and they say India. You ask any Australian and they say, we won the 2007 World Cup undefeated, because we're talking about the 50-over World Cup where both India and Pakistan got knocked out early. And then the World T20, that was a fledgling tournament that really didn't mean much, suddenly with India winning it, it changed the course of cricket history, much like the 1983 World Cup. So I think it's an example of me being a cricket lover. I have no memory of that 2007 World Cup of the match being rained off. So, no, I don't believe in omens like that, but I certainly do think India are obviously a strong chance.
Noel David, India is scheduled to play against Afghanistan on the 20th, 22nd, Bangladesh or Netherlands, and on the 24th, Australia. Do you think from now here onwards, it's do or die, all matches should be kept in that sense of urgency?
Of course. You see the groups, teams in each group, they are superbly placed. each one will be contesting against each other to get into the Super Four, to the semi-finals. And if you take the Indian first match, you can't take Afghanistan very lightly because they are a team which can beat any side on their given day, and they have proved it on many occasions. They got a good spin attack. They have batsmen who can explore that first initial 6 overs, and in between play that middle play where you can dominate that 7 to 40. They have the batsmen, okay, and they have a very good bowling attack. Especially the spin. Yes, I will not talk about their fielding because they lack a bit of in their fielding, but don't take away the credit. They are a good fighters on the field, and I think Indian team has to play up to the mark, expectation more to what we are expecting, because the moment you sit back and relax, Afghanistan can run through you without knowing what is happening. Coming back to the game against Australia, I think that will be a super blockbuster match because everyone will be keen to watch. It is next to India-Pakistan, what we play, and when we play Aussies, it's a game on cards because everyone will be watching. So I think that match also will be keenly being watched. I think all games will be taken very seriously. I think Rahul Dravid and his co will not be leaving the ball. There'll be a lot of strategy, a lot of planning being done.
Right. Well, Ireland and Pakistan will play against each other today at the Central Broward Regional Park Stadium turf ground in Florida. Historically, Pakistan and Ireland have faced each other 4 times in T20 International, with Pakistan winning 3 of those encounters. In 2021, Pakistan defeated Ireland in 2 matches, while Ireland managed to win 1. Of course, Ireland will have to be eager to settle scores. In today's match, of course, daggers are there in the Pakistani camp and as well as in the Pakistan media. In T20 World Cup history, the 2 teams have met once, with Pakistan emerging victorious. Well, that's about the past. There is a forecast of rain again in today's game. Both Pakistan and Ireland are already out of the tournament, but they are looking to end their campaign on a high note with a win. Pakistan needs the win to salvage their pride, their past glory, and whatever little name that they've left in the T20 amidst the kind of criticism that they've managed to get. Well, Noel David, we are also joined by Tatinda Ziambe from Zimbabwe, who will join us a little later. But right now, Paul Paul, do you think Pakistan really got the other side of the stick, not only on the field, but also from the cricket experts, the former players, and the kind of bickering that's happening back home?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to happen, though, that a country that loves cricket as much as Pakistan does demands excellence. And I think that there's probably a sense that from Pakistan fans that they're a little tired of it's a cliche now that the word mercurial is used to describe it, that they're up and they're down, and that the thing that didn't go well for them in this tournament is that losing to the United States, a lot of people said, oh, they'll probably go on and win the whole tournament now. And the fact that obviously that's not going to happen and that they've missed the Super 8s is massively disappointing. It would be a very hard game to get up for today, because if they lose to Ireland, then it just puts an exclamation mark onto what a poor tournament they've had. But then if they come out and have a sumptuous performance and obliterate Ireland, everyone says, well, where was that earlier on in the tournament? So, it's a tough tournament for Pakistan. And, the only thing they can take comfort from is that it shows once again just how much they love their cricket over there, that the level of criticism that's coming their way, it shows that the passion is still strong.
Well, the passion is strong. Welcome, Tatinda Ziambe. Tatinda, hi. You were present at the time when Zimbabwe defeated Pakistan at the home ground. Just take us through how difficult it was for a Pakistani fan then. Go on.
No, it was very difficult. I'm sure, as you can imagine, look, especially with some of the top sides in cricket, I think yesterday we talked about how if certain teams coming to the Super 8, will you perhaps try and, play like a B team maybe so that you can be in a more favorable group. In the same vein, when Pakistan is now facing the likes of, say, Zimbabwe or, say, Kenya or any team of that caliber, not to disparage like my country or anything, you would expect them that they would win. And obviously, when they lost, I think it's more or less like what you guys have said. There was like lots of doom and gloom. Oh my goodness, is Pakistan at the end of its cycle or this or that? And then they were able to, and despite all of that, they were able to literally pull it out of the fire and make it all the way to the final. And I think when we talked about Pakistan earlier on, I think was it 2 weeks ago, following that loss against the USA, we said, no, you know what? We've seen this enough times from Pakistan. We get the sense that these guys are likely going to be able to come back from it. And then, of course, certain things happened. I was still one of those people who was thinking that, you know what, probably Pakistan is going to win. Rain, certain things that are beyond your control happens. And unfortunately, mathematically, you're then ruled out. And I think now what you're going to have to look at is perhaps root that chance and say, well, you know what, in future, you can't take any chances like that. Well, not that they would take chances, but you can't not win the games you're supposed to win, especially against the likes of Zimbabwe or the USA, because it just makes it that much out of your hands. Because the thought was that, okay, maybe Ireland is going to be beaten Ireland is going to beat the USA, which is what many of us expected would happen. It didn't happen, and as a result of it being washed out, it was out of their hands. So doom and gloom, yes, in a sense, but I think they kind of skated by on that legacy of being able to come back. I think now, sort of like the chickens came to roost, and it's almost a case of you reap what you sow. So very unfortunate for Ireland. It's unfortunate that it had to, not for Ireland, for Pakistan. It's unfortunate it played out the way it did, but that's cricket. You have to win the games you're supposed to win. If you don't, then this is what happens.
Well, today's match is between Pakistan and Ireland. It looks inconsequential for the history, the guys who look at the statistics, but there's somewhere romance and passion in it. Noel David, you've been a big supporter of the Pakistan team at the global level, and rightly so, because they bring in the fans, they bring in the color. But just take us through what would be going in the minds of the player. You're a former player. Just take us through what exactly the kind of pressure, the kind of bickering that happens on television by the former players and the big stars from Pakistan. Your views.
First of all, it's sad whatever has happened, to the team. It's been a poor outing for them. Yeah, if I'm a Pakistani player at present, I think I'll be shattered. Number one, my mind will be going through a lot of things, like what I'm going to face, whether I will be in the side in the near future, will I be accepted by the fans? I have let down a lot of people. Everything will be running into my mind. My mindset will not be positive. There'll be a lot of negative thoughts, negative things aspiring and coming into this thing. But, a lot of criticism has come into play during the first game itself. And I think that started their downfall, because losing to US, no one expected Pakistan to lose. And the criticism started to flow in. The pressure started to build onto the Pakistan team. I think that was the downfall of the Pakistan side, because once you big players start criticizing, once your fans starts criticizing, then the moral gets very low into the system. And then, you don't know what to do. And I think Babar Azam himself being the captain, I think he looked very confused as a captain. He couldn't take the right things, right decisions. I think, as I said before, and again I repeat, there is something wrong inside their own dressing room. And I feel that should be sorted out first. I think there will be a lot of inquiry being done by the PCA, and I think and as Wasim Akram rightly said, I think there has to be some changes, and I think that will also be done. And I feel it's very sad to see Pakistan cricket going down the graph very badly, because we all love our nations and this thing. I think even the Pakistan team would love to make a road into cricket when they come back again the next World Cup.
Well, that's all the fans are hoping for, that for the revival of the game, for the revival of the team, we do require a formidable opponent, and Pakistan seems to add the colour and everything put together. Well, that's all we had time for. I thank all my guests, Paul Dinette from Sydney, Tatinda from Harare and Noel David from Hyderabad. Keep watching NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.